So let's talk about the problem with ELDs, because that's what I feel like talking about right now related to the business of transportation. All right, ELDs, it stands for electronic logging device. The concept is really simple. We need something electronic that can actually track how many hours a driver is putting in over the road, because hey, we can come up with these intelligent limits and tell people, hey, you really shouldn't be driving 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. Um, and if you ask drivers to do that on their honor, we all know there are many who will not follow those guidelines, but they could put it on paper and say that they did. Um, and I've heard many drivers while I'm out over the road, talk about how easy it was to manipulate the paper logbooks and how they wish that was still kind of the case. I don't think the concept of an electronic logging device is necessarily a bad idea, but I think that it's implemented in a completely destructive, horrible way currently. So let's talk about a couple of the issues. One, this is mandated by the government, but there is no actual product that's endorsed by the US government. So it's just like, you need one, it needs to meet the criteria, go figure it out. Personally, I would really appreciate it if there was a device, one or more, like, can you just make a generic one? Have anybody make it, I don't care who makes it, but make a generic one that is official, approved. Hey, you can go find another one if you want. Like, let's not take away the free market aspect of it. If you like so-and-so, if you like Motive, if you like whatever, go buy their product. But here's one that you can use if you don't know what you want to get. And it's guaranteed to function and do what the US government wants it to do. And it's competitive price, whatever. I don't really care. The point is, there should, if it's going to be mandated and it's going to be required, then there should be something that is set forth as far as like, get this one or this one's provided. I don't care. I'll pay the US government for it. There's not actually, well, once you get into trucking, there's a whole lot of things you end up paying for, but as far as just getting a DOT number and an MC number and stuff, it's not that expensive. I would pay $50 a month to just have an ELD that I don't have to think about, figure out, and whatnot. Another issue with ELDs is that they document too many different things. And it goes hand in hand with a different issue, which is that they're always messing up, right? And then the problem with them messing up is that it takes something that is supposed to keep drivers safer on the road and keep other people safer on the road, because it's limiting the number of hours a driver can put in, and all of a sudden it's adding hours instead of safeguarding against drivers going over, because it's not designed to take away hours. If you're just an honest person, then you're going to run those same hours anyways that the ELD is going to keep you accountable to. That's the point of the ELD. It's that it keeps you accountable to it if you're not an honest person. So it's only taking hours away from your driving if you were someone who was going to go over the limit. And just to be clear, I'm not proposing that there shouldn't be a limit. I think it's a good idea for there to be a limit. I think that, people, including myself, will push ourselves too hard. There needs to be, for the safety of everybody on the road, there needs to be limits. However, the ELD, when it messes up, when it puts you on duty, when you're actually off duty, or you have to go in and figure out how to get it to set to sleeper berth or whatever, all of a sudden it's adding time, adding stress, adding hours, adding a phone call to tech support, instead of enabling drivers to get the rest that they should be getting when they're off. This is in part because they are too complicated and they document too many things. All that the ELD should really document is driving or not driving. And and also trucks running or not running, right? You have trucks not running, truck is running but not moving, truck is moving. Those three things are all it should document. The reason I say that is because, yes, while the driver should be getting rest if he or she is not driving, you cannot force a person to lie down and go to sleep or take a nap or do something restful at all. And the ELD can't document that. The driver could set it to sleeper or off or on duty or whatever, but there is no guarantee whatsoever that whatever it is recording is accurate. I can set it to off duty and then I can go to an all-night party or whatever. I can put it on sleeper berth but not actually sleep. Like, there's just no way for it to really meaningfully and correctly document those things with any level of surety. So at that point, I think you can limit driving. Driving is an easy thing to limit because it's like you're either moving, the truck's moving or it's not moving. That's something that is knowable. And so it's reasonable to say, well, let's do our due diligence and let's be accountable for that. But when it comes to anything beyond that, you just can't control people like that. And having the ELD doesn't do it. So all it does is create the potential for stress on a driver because maybe the ELD isn't documenting the right status, and now the person's going to go over their hours when they aren't actually over their hours. And it's just, I've experienced it every single time I've used an ELD. It's just not working right. It's not documenting the right thing. Maybe it's operator error, maybe it's not, but the point is it doesn't have to be that complicated. And there's room for error when there's different settings that could apply to the truck not running. If it's only three things, truck not running, truck running, not moving, truck moving, there is nothing else that could apply. It's fail safe, right? The truck's either moving or it's not. Like, you can't get the wrong classification as long as the ELD is recognizing what the truck is doing, which they generally can. The complications usually come from the status not being right when the truck is off. So that's kind of I think I hit the more important ones. I think that those points could be expounded on a heck of a lot more, but those are my thoughts on ELDs, and I actually really hope that some legislators get it together and significantly change the rules and the laws around that, because it's just one of many situations in the trucking world and industry, which I never expected to be part of, where it places an excessive and unfair burden on people who are already trying to do the right thing. And it just goes way beyond what is reasonable and necessary. And I agree that there's a reasonable and necessary amount of oversight that has to happen to keep roads safe and keep drivers and companies, keep companies from pushing their drivers too much, because the driver doesn't always necessarily want to. It's not always the driver who's making the decision to stay out on the road longer than they should. The drivers need accountability. The company needs accountability to do right by their drivers and do right by everybody else on the road. That accountability should be there. But the current way that ELDs function and are required and everything else about it is just really messed up. I don't think it makes anybody safer. I think, if anything, it makes people less safe. And also, in my case, it makes me concerned about failing a portion of a safety review because my ELD wasn't working right. And if I have to worry about failing, my safety review, it should be because of something I actually did wrong and not because an electronic device I didn't want to. I mean, I actually kind of did want to have it. So that's the thing. I liked the idea of having the ELD. I liked the idea of being able to monitor things, keep track of things easily. But then when it doesn't work because there's too many different settings that it could be on, and it doesn't select correctly on its own, and you got to go in and fix it, that's where I don't like it. Right, so now I have to worry about passing a safety inspection due to the flaw of the device and the flaw of what the device is expected to do, instead of being able to focus on actually, doing things the right way, which I want to, and most drivers want to. So those are my thoughts. Thanks for watching.